Welcome to the public input meeting for East Century Avenue improvements. The goals of this public input meeting are to, first, inform the public about the project, second, discuss the proposed alternatives, and third, receive input from the public about this project. The project will be divided into two different segments throughout our discussion, which are the reconstruction area of the existing roadway and the new construction or extension of new roadways. The reconstruction segment includes the existing East Century Avenue roadway from Centennial Road to Kost Drive as shown in red. The new construction segment includes extending East Century Avenue further east until it intersects with 52nd Street. Additionally, 52nd Street would be extended to the south until it intersects with the new East Century roadway. These extensions are shown in blue. The existing roadway for East Century Avenue consists of a rural two-lane roadway with 12-foot driving lanes. There are no turning lanes and the pavement condition is deteriorating. The corridor has some pedestrian facilities, including a 10-foot shared use path between Centennial Road and Stonewall Drive along the north side of East Century Avenue. Additionally, there is another 10-foot shared use path between Lafayette Drive and British Drive on the south side of East Century Avenue. Currently, East Century Avenue ends at the intersection of Kost Drive and 52nd Street ends at the intersection of Gold Drive. There is a discontinuity between these two roadways as they do not currently connect with one another. A traffic operations report was completed for this project that considered future improvements throughout this region as they align with Bismarck's long-range master transportation plan. As part of that traffic operations report, the project team reviewed the extensions of East Century Avenue and 52nd Street Northeast. There were many considerations when determining the alignments of these roadways and where they intersect one another. For East Century Avenue, the proposed alignments must consider the existing right-of-way and easements already obtained for this extension, as well as all existing public infrastructure, such as sanitary sewer and water main. Additionally, the alignment needs to consider the existing terrain of this undeveloped area and any private utilities that may be present. The alignment shown for East Century on this slide follows what was previously shown in the city's master transportation plan. For the extension of 52nd Street Northeast, the alignment has many of the same considerations when determining its route. The project team reviewed several different alignment alternatives for 52nd Street as shown on this slide in blue. The proposed alignments must also consider any potential future improvements identified in the city's master transportation plan. A potential grade-separated crossing at Interstate 94 was identified in the city's master plan. Though not part of the proposed improvements of this project, the project team did complete a feasibility review of the roadway alignments and profiles for this grade-separated crossing to help determine alignments, profiles, and intersection locations for East Century Avenue and 52nd Street Northeast. The review included 7 different alignment alternatives with options for crossing over Interstate 94 with an overpass, as well as crossing under Interstate 94 with an underpass. The traffic operations report also provided recommendations for the proposed improvements that accommodate future vehicular traffic volumes and provide safe multimodal facilities for pedestrians and bicyclists. This is the proposed typical section for East Century Avenue along the reconstruction area between Centennial Drive to just east of Kost Drive. The roadway would include 2 westbound driving lanes, 2 eastbound driving lanes, and a center left turn lane. Pedestrian facilities include a 10-foot shared use path along the north side of East Century Avenue and a 6-foot sidewalk on the south. Due to the limited right-of-way and existing ground terrain, some retaining walls may be required at various locations. The extension of East Century Avenue currently has 2 proposed alignments. The first option would be to transition down to a rural 2-lane roadway as shown on the left. The section would include an asphalt surfacing with 12-foot driving lanes and 4-foot shoulders. The roadway would be built wide enough to accommodate widening the asphalt such that a center left turn lane could be provided in the future. The second option would be to transition down to an urbanized 3-lane roadway as shown on the right. The section would include a concrete surfacing with 12-foot driving lanes, a center left turn lane, and curb and gutter. For this option, the roadway would be built wide enough to accommodate a future shared use path along the north side of East Century and an additional 2 driving lanes, one in each direction. The proposed typical section for 52nd Street Northeast is an asphalt rural 2-lane section with 12-foot driving lanes and 4-foot shoulders. The current slide shows all of the proposed improvements along the corridor for the 2-lane rural section extension of East Century Avenue. A 5-lane urban section begins just east of Centennial Road and continues until it crosses the Sunrise tributary just east of Kost Drive. The roadway will then transition down from an urban 5-lane section to a rural 2-lane section. Note that the exact location of this transition may vary within the boxed region shown. This exhibit shows all of the proposed improvements along the corridor for the 3-lane urban section extension of East Century Avenue. A 5-lane urban section begins just east of Centennial Road and continues until it crosses the Sunrise tributary just east of Kost Drive. The roadway then transitions down from the urban 5-lane section to an urban 3-lane section. Again, please note that the exact location of this transition may vary within the boxed region shown. Along the reconstruction area of East Century Avenue, pedestrian and bicycle facilities are being proposed with some additional features such as raised medians, pedestrian refuge islands, and rapid flashing beacons. As previously noted, the proposed typical section includes a 10-foot shared use path along the north and a 6-foot sidewalk along the south. The Traffic Operations Report recommended improvements to the existing pedestrian crossing at Roosevelt Drive. The proposed improvements include a raised median with a pedestrian refuge island. Due to the configuration of intersecting roadways throughout the corridor, these raised medians with pedestrian refuge islands could be placed at many other intersections. These raised medians would be positioned such that they do not restrict intersection access, but still allow for pedestrians to cross East Century Avenue. The Traffic Operations Report also recommended the installation of rectangular rapid flashing beacons for the pedestrian crossing at Roosevelt Drive. Additional improvements, such as high visibility pavement markings, advanced warning signing, and lighting, were also recommended to improve pedestrian safety. Lastly, the project team has been working with Bismarck Parks and Recreation with options to provide a shared use path connection from Sunrise Park to East Century Avenue along the Sunrise tributary. The potential addition of this path may or may not be completed as part of this project, depending on how it would be funded through coordination with Bismarck Parks and Recreation. The connection would cross the tributary immediately east of Sunrise Park, parallel the east side of Sunrise tributary before connecting to the shared use path paralleling East Century Avenue. We'd also like to inform you about some of the impacts caused by these project improvements, such as wetland, right-of-way, costs, and construction phasing. A common environmental impact that is found with reconstruction and new construction projects is wetland impacts. The project study area was reviewed for existing wetlands which were surveyed so that we can determine impact areas. Though we do attempt to reduce or eliminate impacts as much as possible, permanent and temporary impacts will be unavoidable where the roadway crosses the Sunrise tributary. Current preliminary estimates have identified approximately 1/2 an acre of permanent wetland impacts as a result of these project improvements. Another common impact for these projects is the need for temporary and permanent right-of-way. Along the reconstruction area between Centennial Road and Kost Drive, temporary construction easements will be required. The temporary construction easements are necessary for grading embankment and/or allowing space to construct items like retaining walls. Any impacts to private property, such as fence, irrigation, and landscaping, would be restored to their existing conditions upon completion of the project. Along the new construction or extension of East Century Avenue and 52nd Street Northeast, both permanent right-of-way and temporary construction easements would be required. As noted on the screen, the City of Bismarck has already secured some of the roadway right-of-way required for the extension of East Century, but additional permanent right-of-way would be required in the area shaded in red. As with most roadway projects, there will be impacts to traffic, such as road closures and detours. East Century Avenue will need to be closed to construct the proposed improvements. Each development does have alternative access points, such as access to Century Park development at the intersection of Trenton Drive and Centennial Road, and access to Settler Sunrise development at the intersection of Roosevelt Drive and 43rd Avenue. Detour routes could be provided for these alternative accesses. Other options are also being considered to reduce traffic congestion, such as maintaining temporary access on East Century Avenue from Centennial Road to Patriot Drive and Stonewall Drive. We are aware of the proposed improvements to the Centennial and Expressway interchange with I-94 that will also impact traffic in this area, of which we are taking into consideration for this project. The project improvement costs vary depending on the alternative selected. Alternative 1, with the 2-lane rural extension, is estimated at $26.3 million. Alternative 2, with the 3-lane urban extension, is estimated at $27.8 million. The optional shared use path extension to Sunrise Park is estimated at $800,000. These estimates provided are the engineer's opinion of costs for all improvements and include construction, engineering, right-of-way, wetland mitigation, and utility relocation costs. The project is anticipated to be funded through the half-cent sales tax, with the water utility covering water main costs. Funding for 52nd Street will be determined through City Commission direction at a later date. Lastly, funding for the optional shared use path connection is pending coordination with Bismarck Parks and Recreation. Preliminary design and environmental documentation for this project is currently ongoing and is anticipated to be completed in March or April after presenting to City Commission. Final design and right-of-way will immediately proceed after an alternative is selected. The design is anticipated to be completed in October of 2024, with a bid opening date expected in the fall or winter of 2024. Construction is tentatively planned for the summer of 2025 and is anticipated to be completed in the fall. Please note that these dates are subject to change. Contact information, including a project-specific email address, eastcentury@kljeng.com, is provided on this slide. Please include Public Input Meeting in the subject line of the email. We encourage you to submit any questions or comments about this project that you may have. Please note that written statements or comments about this project must be postmarked or emailed by March 8, 2024. Additional resources are also available at www.bismarcknd.gov/engineering.